Hi, my name is Dana. I'm a parishioner at the Basilica of St. Mary's. I have worked with various pro-life and anti-abortion activist groups in the Northern Virginia and DC area. And this legislative session, I took special interest in being involved because of the recent legislation that's been passed.
So Dana, I understand that you've made 5 trips during this session. So what prompted these trips and what's at stake here?
Well, the first one was just knowing about the abortion amendment. So across the different states that we've seen so far, states have been putting abortion up until birth into their state constitution. I was involved with a lot of the work in Maryland, and so when I heard that Virginia was going to be doing this as well, I just felt really called to say, we need to stay on top of this, because with Maryland, I think a lot of us were blindsided and it was a little too late. So we learned about the abortion amendment process. We learned that this was the first session where it has to pass in the House and the Senate. So we went down in the frigid cold temperatures. We passed out flyers to all of the senators, the delegates. We did door knocking. We met with our own delegates. We also met with all of the Republican delegates that were involved on the committee that was passing this amendment, as well as just in the House. And we were actively trying to make sure that they would vote no. Unfortunately, because the Democrats have a majority, it passed in both the House and the Senate.
What exactly passed? Like, can you define?
Sure. So there was actually a few bills that passed. One was this first round of the abortion amendment, which will allow abortion up until birth. It will also prevent any parental consent if minors are involved with getting abortions. It will just be very discouraging for anyone that is trying to stop abortion or prevent abortion. So the 2 other bills that passed this session was SB 1098, which essentially will provide immunity to abortion providers. So as we know, a lot of states don't allow abortion at all, but unfortunately, abortion pill access is still allowed to cross travel state lines. So if abortion providers here provide abortion pills to women in other states where abortion is illegal, or they provide it to minors, they can get immunity here. The other bill that passed that is very discouraging and concerning for pro-lifers, especially those that are involved with sidewalk counseling and then the 40 Days for Life, is SB 1324. This bill will charge sidewalk counselors with a Class 1 misdemeanor, which is the equivalent of 1 year in prison or a $500 fine, if they are seen as impeding, obstructing, or delaying a woman's entrance into the clinic. So this means if I'm trying to just give a pamphlet to a woman and stop her to say, hey, don't do this today, there's other options, you don't have to hurt your baby today, they can say that that's a Class 1 misdemeanor. If I am standing within 40 feet of the entrance or 8 feet of the woman, just holding a sign, just praying, just singing, or even just preaching and calling out to the woman from the distance, they can charge us with a Class 3 misdemeanor, which can be a fine up until $500. So both of these bills have passed. They will need to be, unfortunately, if they can be, vetoed by Youngkin, and that's on March 24th. But even if Youngkin vetoes it, then on April 2nd, they can all reconvene, and if they can override the veto.
Obviously, all this has a really chilling effect, and it really kind of nullifies the Dobbs decision, which overturned Roe v. Wade. So my question to you is how can faithful Catholics respond to this?
It's a great question. Well, one is what you can do from the comfort of your own home, which is just tweet Youngkin, email him, call his office, try to set up a meeting. You can do that, on a random day. Tell him to veto 1098, tell him to veto 1324. Also, it is our job to reach out to our own legislator, our senator, and our delegates to tell them that there are constituents that don't approve of what they're passing. Sadly, in this area, a lot of the delegates and the senators are Democrat. And actually, the senator for this area, Senator Surraville, is the one that wrote the bill for obstruction to clinic entrances. So we have to let them know that there are people that don't approve of what they're passing. Even if it's just a virtual meeting, we did a bunch of that this legislative session, even if it's just for 6 minutes, even if it's just calling, any little bit helps. The other thing to do is go down to the March for Life April 2nd. So the reason that you would need to do that is you get to go down there, go to the offices, tell all of the delegates, the senators that you don't approve of what they're passing. Tell them that you are against the abortion amendment. And they need to see faces. So a lot of times they'll do this slyly, or they'll just have these committees, and you're allowed to go into the committees and actually testify against it. But I think a lot of us don't know, and what we don't know hurts us. So just always keep being a face and a front to them. And always too know that there's power in an email and a phone call, and there's power in many emails and phone calls. So if you can't make it down to the march, still do your due diligence to spread awareness, to tell everyone to tell Youngkin to veto and to reach out to their senator and delegate.